Okay, this video will show you how to enter your survey data and how to analyze your results. So what you need to do is go to a UB computer lab and access the program SPSS. There's also a way to access this program at home, and I'll send instructions along on how to do that. But I think it might be easy if you go to UB's computer lab with your group members and access the program from there. So when you get to a computer, almost all of UB's computer lab computers have this program. So let me show you that again. When you get to a computer, you go to the Start button, and there should be the SPSS program in this window. If not, go to All Programs, and from here you should be able to find Scientific Software, SPSS. Oh, there it is. So you should be able to find this program. It could also be on the desktop of the computers. As soon as you open the program, this is normally what you might see. We want to X out of this box here, and we want to widen the screen. This is what the program looks like. It looks like a blank spreadsheet. What you need to be concerned with are these two tabs here in the lower left-hand corner. Right now, we're in what is called Data View. But to start, you need to go to the second tab, Variable View. Okay, so we want to get to Variable View, and here we want to enter the questions on our survey. We want to enter the questions, and we want to enter the response categories. So all you need to be concerned with here is this column, which says Name, and this column that says Label. I'll explain that in a minute. And this column, Values. Okay, so Name. We want to name our questions. Okay, very simply, I'm going to give an example of a survey that I created, and I'm going to name the first question on my survey Q1 for question 1. You'll notice as soon as I do that, all of these fields become populated. Don't be concerned with anything except this label box. We want to label our questions. So question 1 on my survey is asking respondents, what is your gender? So right here, I'm going to write the question. What is your gender? Very simple. The next thing I care about is the values. The responses for this question, what is your gender? There's two responses, male or female. If we want to analyze this, we need to code those categories into a numeric value so we can analyze it with this program. So if we go to values and we click on this little box that says none, we click on it, this little box appears, we click on this box right here, and a drop-down menu appears. What we want to do is we want to code our categories using some type of system that's very simple to remember. So I'm going to use the codes 1 for male, which we enter it here for the value. The label is male. I add it. So this is telling me that the code 1 equals my category male. Very simple. I need to add my female category, which I'm going to code as 2. The value for female is 2. I'm going to add it. So very simple. I have 1 equals male, 2 equals female. I'm going to click OK. So let's just go back and see if it's there. There it is. We have to always make sure we add OK. I'm going to add my next question. My next question is, what is your age group? I have about 4 different categories for age group. So I need to code them so I can analyze them. So code number 1 is for my very first category, which is 18 to 22 years old. And I'm going to add that. My next category, I'm going to code as a 2, is the age group 23 to 25. I'm going to add it. Always make sure you click add. So all we're doing is going over, adding my third category, which is 26 to 30. I'm adding it. Lastly, my fourth category is over 30. Add. OK. Make sure you click OK. My next question, question 3, what is your race? Okay, I added the label. We can actually expand this so we can see our labels. What is your race? I'm going to add the values now. So I have 5 categories. My first category is African American. My second category here is Caucasian. You know what, one thing I'm going to do, we should have already done this. I'm just going to click OK, so my 2 categories are there. I'm going to save this. It's very important that we save this early on so we don't lose our work. I imagine most of you have a flash drive, and that would be a great place to save it, or you can just save it on the desktop for the time being and then add it to your flash drive. File name, survey results, put my last name, and that's it. So make sure you pay attention to where you're saving it. Save it to a flash drive, save it to the desktop for the time being, whichever works. Make sure we save it. Okay, this is just a little window telling me it's saved. I'm going to just minimize this. Okay, so now we're back to our variable view. I'm going to go back to our values for our question, what is your race, because I did not finish. So I want to add the other 3 categories. I have a category for Asian. I have a category for Hispanic. And then I have a category for other. Okay, so I have 5 categories. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to add just one more question just for the purpose of illustrating. Question 4. The question is, so my question's long. The question is, throughout my life, most of my interactions with the police have been, and I have a bunch of categories where respondents were able to circle a response. The responses are very negative, negative, mostly positive, very positive. Okay, so we have 4 different categories. This is a scaled question, right? We're trying to measure how a person's interactions were with the police. So for the label, instead of writing that entire question, actually, lifetime police interactions. That's what my question is getting at. So I'm just going to do a short version. So now I can stick with a similar coding scheme. I'm going to use values 1 through 4 again, just to keep it simple. My very first category is very negative. My second category is just negative. My third category is mostly, oops, have to add the value. The label is the word, mostly positive. Add it. Values, last one, very positive. Okay, I have 4 different categories. So I'm done. Now you guys will have a lot more to do, but this is how you do it. All we care about again is the name of our question, the label, right? This has to be very short. It's just easier to do it that way. It's not important right now. And then our values. These are the three things we care about. Okay, so I'm going to leave variable view. We set up all of our survey questions and responses, going back to data view now. Here what we see is our questions appeared. Right here in the left column, we see these numbers 1 through, and it keeps going and going and going. This is our participant. In class, you have about 24 people who filled out your survey, so you need to make sure you add their responses to the row. So participant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So I'm going to start this. Let's just say I only have 5 participants, and I'm looking at my survey, and I'm looking at the responses. The very first participant who took my survey responded that they were a male. So you'll notice if I click on the box, and I click here on the right, a little arrow will appear with all of the categories. So question 2, if you recall, if I put my little pointer over the question, it actually reads the question to me. That's the label for question 2. What is your age group? So I click on it, click on the arrow, here's the drop-down box. This person indicated that they are between the ages of 23 and 25. I'm going to click it. Question 3, what is your race? This person indicated they are African American. Question 4, what is their lifetime police interactions like? I'm going to click here. This individual indicated mostly positive. So there we go. Respondent number 1 is completed. Their data is finally entered. I'm just going to continue on and look at my surveys and fill out my database. So it becomes very easy to do because you created all of the values. So all you have to do is click on this and fill everything out. So it's a very simple way to go about it. Just clicking on the box, showing the drop down. Okay. For our last respondent, let's just say we had 5. Okay, there we go. We have our 5 participants, all their responses to the survey question filled out. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to end this video, and there's going to be a second video on how to analyze this. Okay, so we'll conclude this portion, and I'll send you a link to part 2.